Well, I'm going to get started on our roasted sweet potato stew with kale and freekeh. So it actually is a green wheat that has been not really technically now burned, but roasted, cracked open, and that's how you got freekeh. Since it is an ancient grain, it has not been genetically modified. And that seems to be some of the issues lately with all of our wheat products, that they have been genetically modified, so the trend is now to go back to ancient grains. Years ago, you might have heard me talking about quinoa, Q-U-I-N-O-A. Absolutely, that's another ancient grain. And now we actually do have that in our menus as a salad and in some soups. So it is out there available for you to purchase. And it's very, very, as you'll see today, very, very easy to make. And as we mentioned before, it is very high in protein and lower in carbs than quinoa. I'm adding some tomatoes. And of course, you know tomatoes are very good for you. They're high in vitamin C, they're high in potassium, and they're also high in a phytochemical called lycopenes. And lycopenes are very good for a lot of things, especially for the heart. I'm going to start adding all of the other ingredients as you see on your recipe there. I'm using a vegetable base to give it some flavor. And again, this can be found at any local grocery store. All right, chickpeas. They're not just for the salad bar. They should be utilized in a lot of other different kinds of recipes as we're doing today with the stew. Chickpeas, of course, are very high in fiber, but they're also thinking that the fiber that's in the chickpeas is actually a little bit better fiber than some of the other fiber. It's called resistant starch, which is obviously good for, thank you very much, colon cancer. And it's a good source of protein because we're making this as a vegetarian kind of dish. This is just frozen garlic pressed, but it's so much easier than peeling and smashing, and I think it has the same flavor, but I'm standing next to a chef.
Yeah, I think that looks better too.
See, it just pop it right in. It's a little easier when it's frozen, but it's been sitting out here. Okay, I'll let that sit out for you to look at too. What else do I need to add? Sweet potatoes. These have already been roasted. And I roasted them with the avocado oil. This seems to be another trendy new thing. You know, olive oil is still very, very good for us, and I still highly recommend it. But so is avocado oil. Then we have sweet potatoes. If you didn't want to use sweet potatoes, you could use butternut squash, or my favorite is pumpkin. Unfortunately, pumpkin is not available in the flesh form all year round. Okay, I'm going to add the freekeh. I don't usually measure, so I'm going to dump. And it calls for some bay leaves. I promise to get them out before I serve it to you. I don't think it's quite as bitter again as the curly kale. So I brought it and I'm going to add it to your soup. Just think the dark green leafy vegetables, you've heard people talk about them. They are just so good for you with the phytochemicals and the good stuff for your eyes. Okay, now I just need to let that simmer so it's not crunchy and for you. So while I'm doing that, did I convince any of you to go out and try it? Or at least try it today.
I'll try today.
And at least you can just pat yourself on the back and say, if your grandchildren or people that you talk to who might come up and say, you know, I've heard about Freekeh, and said, I have heard it too, and I heard it first at Masonic Village.
Way to go.